Hello, friends. Let me begin by asking you how many of you enjoy listening to music? All of us? Each one of us here listens, consumes, grapples, engages, or enjoys listening to some kind of music or the other. Now, how many of you listen to classical music? Some of you? And now, how many of you can say that you are a great connoisseur of classical music? Very few, I guess. Let's talk about it. My name is Dr. Pushkar Lele. I am a Hindustani classical vocalist, a teacher, a researcher, and a performing artist. I have been a performing artist for the past 35 years or so, and I have a PhD in music. Also, for the past decade or so, I've been working in the field of music appreciation, giving talks, lecture demonstrations, conducting workshops, and certificate courses in music appreciation. Now, some people ask me, what is it that I do? And when I say that I'm a Hindustani classical vocalist, some of them turn around and say that, oh, yeah, we also like classical music. We enjoy listening to it. We don't understand much of it. I'm just a connoisseur, you see. And then I get curious and I ask that person, oh, that is something. You are a connoisseur. You must have invested so much into becoming one. Now he is a bit curious and confused and he says, no. I just love classical music. I enjoy listening to it. I don't understand much of it. I'm just a connoisseur. And then I have to ask that person, do you really know what a connoisseur is? By this time, he knows that something is amiss and he inevitably confesses that he doesn't really know what a connoisseur is and says that, I've heard people saying this all the time, and that's why I also say that I'm just a connoisseur. So, what is a connoisseur? Let's find out. Can you guess what this word connoisseur is associated with? The con, with the act of listening, and something to do with tansen. Yes? So this word was first coined by the great musician, scholar, musicologist, and educator, Pandit Vishnu Digambar Palushkar, who was the first person to start institutionalized Hindustani classical music training by starting what is called as the Gandharva Mahavidyalaya about 125 years back in 1901 in Lahore. And then he sent his disciples to all parts of the country and asked them to establish schools, different branches of Gandharva Mahavidyalaya. One fine day, a gentleman scoffed at Pandit Palushkar and asked him, Palushkarji, you have started so many institutions all across the country. How many townsends do you think you're going to create? And Pandit Palushkar smiled very calmly replied that I don't know about townsends, but I definitely will create a number of townsends who really understand and appreciate music. And the path of becoming a Kansen is a very enjoyable and fun path. So a Kansen is somebody who is at par of the Kansen. He understands every nuance, every intricacy, every technical detail, everything that is to be known about classical music. It is just that he or she is not able to actually physically sing or play an instrument. But he is a rasik of the highest order. So a Kansen is a very, very elevated position. Why does one need to undertake this journey of becoming a Kansen, one might ask? And the answer is that of all the categories of music, classical music, or a better word for it is art music, is the kind of music that is most codified. You see, you need to know the rules of the game. If you know the rules, if you know the code, then you will be able to decode and enjoy the music. Also, it's a bit of an acquired taste. You need to invest time, energy, and effort into it. You need a certain initiation, a certain curiosity, a certain humility, and a certain openness of mind. Also, it's all about nuance and intricacies and subtleties. The devil, as they say, lies in the details. Let me give you an example of my own experience about film appreciation. After watching cinema from around the world for several decades, I enrolled myself in a film appreciation course, a 4 month long, intensive, prestigious film appreciation course in the FTII Pune. And while I was doing this course, I realized that till that point of time, I was able to absorb and really understand only a small fraction or a small percentage of what is actually happening in the film. And it was not just in terms of technicalities like the lighting or the camera angles or the edits or the screenplay, but in terms of the tonality of the film, the aesthetics of the film. So much of it was getting lost to me because I was just not open. I realized that there's something called as mise en scène, which means that in every frame of the film, everything that you see in each and every frame of that film is there because it has been placed there purposely, intentionally. Nothing is there by accident, and everything in the film, in the frame, means something. So that opened up new vistas and new visions for me to look at cinema and enjoy and really appreciate it better. But the appreciation of classical music, or any other art form for that matter, can be a subjective phenomenon to a large extent, at least at the instinctual level. There could be no apparent reason why you like or you dislike or you love or you hate, or sometimes you're just neutral or have a kind of disinterest to a particular kind of music. Sometimes an intellectual kind of engagement is what draws you to a particular kind of music, but usually it is the response that a certain kind of music that evokes on an emotive level, or sometimes even a spiritual level, that really holds the key. In my personal experience, there are four stages, incremental stages, of how this process really unfolds: awareness, acquaintanceship, understanding, and finally, appreciation. So, you begin by just being aware of certain things, aware of sounds, of musical sounds, of swars or notes, of rhythms, of textures, of timbres, of different kinds of music, like folk music, or light music, or film music, or religious music, or devotional music, or fusion music, and classical or art music, of course. Different instruments, their tonalities, their timbres, and finally, different systems or different cultures of music. Some of this music could be belonging to a specific geography, a specific region, a specific language, a specific culture. This is what ethnomusicologists study, what is called as cultural musicology. Some of this music, including classical music, might not be part of your life, part of your ecosystem, but you are curious about it. And once you are aware enough of the musics that surround you, you are ready to go on to the next level, that is to acquaint yourself with music. And the best way to acquaint yourself with classical music is to listen to it very carefully, very intently, very closely, keeping your biases at bay without any preconceived notions, non judgmentally, learning to sometimes come out of the cultural comfort zones that you have created for yourself if required, and just be in that sonic universe of classical music, or Raga Sangeet as we call it. You can do this by going for live concerts, to festivals, to intimate concerts, or even listening to it online or on any other platform on the internet. But this listening does not or should not be of the plastic kind, which means that you do it on the go, casually, or by doing when you're doing some parallel activity. Imagine that you are chopping vegetables in the kitchen and Pandit Bhimsen Joshi is pouring his art out singing Darbare Kannada. Or you're just lounging on a chair reading a book and Pandit Shiv Kumar Sharma is riveted into playing Rag Kirwani. Not that kind of listening. This listening should be an active, dedicated listening where you shut out the world for a while. You sit down, you calm yourself, and you immerse into that music. You let that music wash over you and really be aware of what that music is doing to you. When this happens for a considerable amount of time, you will start finding certain forms, a certain musical logic, a certain flow, a certain aesthetic that you had not observed or even noticed all along. You might find that much of your notions about classical music are actually coming out of your ignorance or sometimes even arrogance or some very deeply embedded complexes. In the process, you might come across some people who are in the same boat as you are, co travelers, and then sometimes even a casual conversation or a book that you are reading or a link that someone sends you on your WhatsApp group could become a trigger or a hook to make you more curious into really want to go to the next level of trying to understand classical music. By this time, you have consciously or unconsciously sort of shut yourself to other arts or even other kinds of music, and you really dive deep into the ocean of classical music and try to understand the language, the grammar, and the whole philosophy of it. You try to make sense of this Hindustani music, which is almost improvised, completely improvised or extempore. You try to wonder at the fluid architecture that gets built in front of you and even vanishes the next moment, one avartan at a time, one time cycle of the tal at a time, one cellular unit at a time, till it becomes and manifests into this large, living, breathing embodiment of the Rag or Tal. Gradually, you feel empowered to articulate first to yourself and then to others what is it that this music is really making me feel and why. You become more confident about talking about it or even discussing or debating about some of its intricacies like styles or aesthetic approaches and other such things. Trust me, this phase does not have a full stop. It's a lifelong, ongoing learning process that takes you down unexpected rabbit holes to explore new wonders, much like Alice in Wonderland. The sheer joy of finding new meaning, new insights, new understandings is unparalleled. Eventually, as you continue these explorations, you learn to escape the gravitational orbit of the technical or analytical knowledge and understanding and go into a space that is much beyond it. That space is that of truly appreciating classical music. You learn everything and then you forget about it. You learn to let go and be vulnerable. After all, understanding Rag Yaman Kalyan and having a personal experience or anubhuti of Rag Yaman Kalyan are two totally different things. And in this very personal, subtle, sacred space, you start seeing things for what they are and are no more clouded by what others think or what is the opinion of others. You learn to inhabit different musical soundscapes, both intellectually as well as emotionally, with a sense of sheer wonder and delight. You become empowered and uh, independent as your appreciation of music is then your own. It depends on your study, your own understanding, your own assessment, and your own judgment. You are no more part of a herd. You are no more directed or dictated by the opinions of others. So, in a classical concert, when you have somebody sitting next to you, you do not have to look at your neighbor to figure out at what point you have to say, ah, wah, kya baat hai. You will know when and when to say it. It is one of the most liberating and humbling experiences and feelings of all. And as cliche as it may sound, the joy is in the journey and not in reaching a particular destination. Now, why is it that as a classical musician, I would like to venture into something like music appreciation, some might ask? And the answer is honestly very simple. I do it with a very selfish reason. You see, the quality of music or musicianship is in direct proportion to the quality of listeners or listenership. You get the supply as you demand. Now, there are a number of artists and organizers who are working on increasing the quantity of listeners. You go to any music festival and you find thousands of them sitting out there. But there are very few artists who are really working in leveling up, in increasing the quality or the darja of listeners. The work of musicologists and scholars is very important, but with all due respect to them, it could be understood by only a motley few. So, if we as artists do not make an effort to demystify things to the lay audiences, to the Shrota, then tomorrow we might not have a good body of knowledgeable, initiated, discerning listeners. Also, the intricacy of classical music might just get lost, and only the bold or the garish things might take root and become the norm. After all, we don't want classical music to become some relic or some museum piece of our cultural heritage of some bygone era, but a living, thriving, flowing tradition that is supported by a large body of people who truly understand and appreciate it. So I feel it is the duty of an artist to not just excel in his own personal artistry, but also contribute to the community and lovingly tend to this garden of cultural consciousness. Also, bringing down barriers to music appreciation does not in any way take away or diminish the integrity of the art form. In fact, it builds small bridges, small steps to access, engage, enjoy, and relish classical music better. Now, how to go about this, one might ask. And I would say just start somewhere. You know? Start by being curious. Start by asking questions. Start reading books, blogs, books, watch documentaries about music, about musicians, engage with artists and musicians. Uh, be true to yourself and accept that there could be huge holes in your exposure and understanding of music. Read, listen, attend, map your experiences, attend classical music appreciation workshops or seminars or lectures. Don't get stuck up with any particular artist. Try to listen to as many live concerts as possible. Trust me, the experience of attending a live concert is unparalleled. It's not the same thing as watching it on YouTube. Don't get stuck up in simplistic binaries of music being slow or fast or old or new. Try to place music or a composition or composer in the right perspective, try to see the intent behind the composition. And as you keep on doing this, you will become more and more confident at expressing yourself, in dirtying your hands, start participating, start a movement, start hosting events, and dip your feet in the water, allow yourself to jump into the pool and enjoy swimming, and not just be on the sidelines of the pool and enjoy others how they swim. Of course, there is no magic wand or pill that one can swallow. It's a process, it's something that will take effort. It might appear a little difficult or intimidating in the beginning, but small victories will keep you buoyant, and repeated experiences will guide you on your path. But trust me, it is an enjoyable, empowering, and enriching journey. So let me conclude by saying that the essence of being or trying to become a connoisseur is in embracing music as a process and not just consume it like a product. Thank you very much.